21st century superhuman. And I know that the answers are inside. Yeah, I am a 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see it when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. And we can make a difference, yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world a lot more fun.
Hi there, I'm Cary Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show, and today I am with Jacquie Figg out in California. Jacquie,
Hello.
how are you today?
I'm doing really good, actually. Very good.
And you're in a very dry part of the world. I know you've got exciting things going on in your garden. And
yeah, go ahead.
both of us, let's just say really quickly, are students of the Keshe Plasma Technology, and you're a distributor. I've been involved in various capacities, but we're both in this experimental phase of using everything that we've learned in many ways. And what I love about you is that you are so practical, and you're really doing practical applications and you're getting results. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here. So we're going to share with people a little bit about what you're doing, because I think it's, anytime I ever talk to you, I'm like, wow, why didn't I think of that idea? I think you're doing a lot of things nobody's thought of yet. So please tell us what magical and wonderful devices you have going there.
Yeah, so I've been using GANs for quite some time now. I think it's a couple of years. And as you remember, when we started making it, I don't know, that must be a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah, and that's the other really exciting thing that's happened. We're kind of this global community, and we're getting to know each other, because when I traveled and did workshops a couple of years ago, I came and saw you. So we've been together in person, developed different projects together, and that just really strengthens that bond of knowing each other and kind of what each other's made of. And I love that. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. Bouncing ideas off each other. I mean, that's what it's all about, and growing together. So, yes, so I've been, if you remember, we had the super GANs that I had been making. And
let's talk about that a minute, because I think this is an idea that a lot of people have never thought of. So the super GANs is, you've taken GANs and the plasma water from that GANs and used it to make the next GANs. Is that correct? And done that like 5 times or something?
Yeah, so it would be in a device kind of similar to this, where I take, in fact, this is number 4 right here. So I just happen to have number 4 with me. So inside here, and that's progressed too. So originally we had a tube inside here filled with regular GANs. And then what I discovered was, when I ran water through the device, the water that came out, when I used that to make the next generation of GANs, the field grew. And it was quite a considerable growth. So then I made the new GANs from the new water that came out, because I do have my own distiller. And I discovered at that point that distilling the water does not destroy the GANs filled. So, and that was kind of an exciting discovery. I know Mr. Keshe had said that, but it's really nice when you see it visually yourself. So that was kind of fun. So then I took the water from the second one that I made, and I distilled that, and then I made a new GANs, and I had an even bigger field. And it got to be quite funny, because I used dowsing rods to check the size of the field, and Ken and myself would jump in the car, and I'd have my dowsing rods and would see how far the field would go. And ultimately, the furthest we could go was about 5 miles.
Wow.
And then after that, because after that you have to turn left or turn right. So we have a straight road here where we could gauge a good 5 miles down the street. And so then I switched to a pendulum and learned how to use one of those pretty well. And ultimately, you know, I got maybe about 37 miles. It got pretty big. And that would have been with copper GANs has a very, very large field. And again, by the time I got down to like about the 5th generation, each time making the new GANs from the new water that was created, yeah, just kept getting stronger and stronger.
So you had the GANs in this container around your hose, basically, that the water's running through. So it's
Yes.
getting potentized. And then you would take that and distill it, and you'd make GANs again out of that. And then would you put it back in this container again?
Actually, I'd make new ones. So I have various generations of these that I make time. And then by the time I think in this one, yes. So in this one, by the time we got to generation 4, we actually found a way of packing it with the balls. And so we were able to structure it as well. So we'd have about, I think there's about 10 polypropylene balls here filled with GANs. So, so literally the water kind of trickles through these balls, and which structures it and puts in a very large field. And it was kind of
That's amazing. And you have those for sale on your website, right?
Yes, we do sell these, and we do design them to people's fit. So if you have like a 2-inch pipe, we can make them with 2 inches or 3/4 of an inch. Whatever you have, we design it specifically for however you want it. But then we started thinking about what to do with the water. And I think I've explained before, I used to tie-dye. I do like the Grateful Dead. So tie-dyeing was kind of a natural thing. And as you can see, my sheet right here is made with GANs dye. So what I do is when I mix the dye itself, it's made with a Procyon professional dye. I dye with a company called Dharma. I dye with Dharma. Does not sound good.
It does. It sounds beautiful, because we know that that's higher intention energy already to start with.
Absolutely, it's really beautiful. So once you put it into the dye, the field remains in the clothing until it washes out, which it really doesn't, because it is professional quality dye. So so I started working with that, and I came up with some really nice. This is a field dye right here. Oh, my shirt. Oh, we have my shirt right here.
Yes.
And then, you know, some people like plain things, so I do plain shirts too, plain clothing. I have some DNA pajamas that I wear. I started to add frequencies. I use a generator right here to dial frequencies in. I actually connect directly to the plates. So when I make my GANs kit, I make it a little bit different now. I use 2 zinc plates. I use 2 nano coated plates, and I will have one going to the electricity. These are really hot right now. I have one going to the electricity, and I will have one going into my generator. So my generator will create the frequencies to put into the GANs. And I have been working with all different kinds of frequencies going in there.
So will the zinc plate that's attached to or copper plate that's attached to your frequency machine be actually in the GANs water as the process is happening?
Yes, and then roughly I spend about an hour, depending on the frequencies and however long the GANs takes, but I will spend maybe an hour dialing in like gratitude, and I'll leave that for about an hour. Then I have love, all the great things that people would want. Freedom. I think that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So, you know, I spend a lot of time looking at research and working out what the frequencies are going to be. And then I started to progress a little further. I had a friend that spent some time at a Therify. I don't know if you know what a Therify is, but that's
absolutely. That's Dan Winter's Bliss machine.
Bliss machine. Yes. So I began to create bliss hats, because who doesn't need more bliss in their life? So this has actually been dyed with both the GANs. I use GANs to actually carry and hold the frequencies in the plasma fields. And then this was actually made with some water that was in the Therify. And additionally, I've been adding in some minerals. So this particular one is made with protavite. Protavite actually makes something called brain reward. So these are the Protovite. Actually, this is the Protovite and brain reward right here. These two. Very, very good vitamins and very good for your body, very good for your brain.
And Jackie, are those Gansas made with the Protovite?
Yes.
And
yes.
so how do you make that Gans? Are you making a CO2 Gans and you just add the Protovite to it?
Yes. So if it's a liquid, you know, I kind of test how much I'm going to need. I do generally put in quite a lot. So in these two, it would have been about 2 bottles of the Protovite and 2 bottles of the Brain Reward. And then I create the GANs out of that. And then I can use the waters on top to create the dyes.
So you basically make a saltwater solution that you add the Protovite or the liquid mineral to, and then do your regular GANs process with that.
Regular and not so regular, because I do also add in frequencies. I've decided now that everything that I create includes love and gratitude, because I think there's just not enough of that in the world.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, so I really do like adding those frequencies to everything. So pretty much everything here on the table. Another thing, little stir sticks. I love these little things right here. So I can use the waters off the top and put these inside here. The interesting thing is as you know, I make the plasma water. So all of my water coming into this property is plasmatized.
And you told me that people come over all the time to carry gallons of that away, right?
Yes, yes. I have people that come for various treatments, and they actually bring me jugs to fill. So I spend a lot of time making water. So because I do filter it as well. In these are the Protovite and the Brain Reward, and it's very, very interesting. When I add those to the waters, you can actually taste the difference. Even though they're actually in a sealed container, the frequencies seep out and get into the water, and I can seriously taste the difference.
I have a wonderful tube from you. I'm not sure exactly what's in it, but we love it. It goes in our 5-gallon jug of water, and you can taste the difference. I mean, the waters, we don't even want water that doesn't have that in it. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. But that's the problem that we're actually having. So, you know, if I go to a restaurant, I literally, I can't, the water just tastes so horrible to me that I can't stand it.
So do you carry a tube with you?
Yes, I carry my with me and pop them in. So that's pretty easy.
Great idea.
Yes.
And can people get those on your website?
Actually, you know, when you get something from the website, I usually throw them in. Etsy had a problem with me selling GANs. So, and I don't understand why, because I see other people selling it on there, but I'm not, you know, whatever. Mostly people contact me privately, and I prefer that anyway.
Right.
And that to know you, and we can chat. I really do prefer doing things specially made for you, and that way my intentions are set on you and on the project you want me to do for you.
Brilliant. Yes.
So yeah, I kind of like that.
So people can contact you through your website besides just going to Etsy, right?
Absolutely.
Or,
yes.
We'll put contact information under this video.
So as you know, we've been working with the garden, and that's why I wanted to start off out here. I think it's a beautiful day. I live on the edge of the desert here in California, so we have pretty harsh conditions. We began this year with an early springtime that very quickly had frosts. So we had these beautiful hot days that were like late 80s, maybe mid to late 80s. And then all of a sudden it would drop below 30 at night. It's really, you know, bad for plants. I had about 50 peaches on my peach tree that I know we've done something about before. It's about a year old. It was just full and it was beautiful, and they all froze. So that was pretty disheartening. But the tree itself is doing great. So and now what we're having is temperatures around 106. So today is actually a cooler day. You can see there's a little breeze in the air. It's about 96.
I had heard, I know you're in extreme conditions there. I had heard from Jim and Lisa McDonald in Australia, that where it was cold or hot or dry, that the GANs would help moderate those conditions. Had you treated your peach tree with GANs in some way before that frost? Or, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just curious.
Yeah, not directly with GANs, and so just the plasma water. And to be quite honest, it was so unexpected. I
Mm.
didn't even think. I mean, if you know, I'm learning. Just to kind of give you a little background, I'm a city dweller, and you know, living in the country now is kind of new to me in that sense. I'm still at that phase where, you know, I do one thing, something dies, and then I try something else, and it dies from something else. But actually, my garden is probably better than any of the neighbors here, and so are the trees. So we've been hearing.
We'll look at pictures in a few minutes. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty good. And a lot of people here have been complaining that their gardens have not been productive at all. And actually mine is doing great. So I do think it's the plasma water. I did not prepare the soil in the way that I would have liked to. I had spoken to Dave before in Arizona, and so he has harsh conditions. And what they do is they put down a layer of metals, materials, whether it's old zinc, any old materials that they've used in making GANs, nano-coated copper, or any of these types of things, and then put down coatings of both the CH3 and the CO2. So I didn't do that. And, you know.
Wow, that's really great information, though. I love that.
Yes, yes. And he did have a really beautiful garden. However, he is a farmer.
Right. I remember that. I've met him.
Point out. Yes. I do have a friend that pops by occasionally. He's a bit of a farmer too. And he comes and, you know, gives me some directions. Do this, don't do that, you know. So I do get a few pointers. But again, you know, this is not my forte.
But it looks like you've got some beautiful things on the table there. What else have you got there?
Oh, well, we've got some. I just actually picked these before we started about 2 hours ago.
Gorgeous.
But some nice radishes that we've been growing, cucumbers. We'll have a look in a second. I don't know if you can see my squash plant behind us.
We can see the corner of it. It looks huge.
It's huge, yes. And the other thing that I was making, so I have a friend who is a microbiologist. So he made me some microbial teas. So I made some microbial tea GANs, and which is kind of interesting because, you know, in the microbial tea, you have, whether it's fungus, other microbes. And so anyway, I made some. Actually, that's tachyon, so we'll come to that in a second. This one right here is a CH3. Actually, this is a ZNO. You can see the color of that. But that was actually made with a microbial tea. And then I think this one, nope, that's the brain one. Well, I have a couple of others. That's a CO2 one. And additionally, right here, I have some CUO fertilizer. So I actually made that with a nitrogen, a high nitrogen content. So it's very dark blue. It's actually quite pretty and quite a large field. What else did I have?
And so have you been putting some of that on your plants, like adding small amounts to water? Or
I actually have them inside my hose bib. So whenever I use the hose bib, they get a dose of it. And then additionally, if the plants look a little sick, then I give them a little bit. But yeah.
So Jackie, give us some ideas. I know just saying you have it inside your hose bib, well, that probably goes right over a lot of people's heads, but it is that simple thing any of us can do. And I know I've seen, remember Dave and different people were wrapping just plastic tubing with GANs in it around the end of the hose. But give us some suggestions of what other ways you can put it around your hose so that you can be adding that nutrient just by simply the water running through the field.
Definitely. So you can get these, you know, like the medical tubing that you have that's attached to all the, it's a PVC or it's polypropylene, I think it is actually.
Right.
Literally get that into a tube effect. You can fill that with any kind of GANs that you want to. And then the sealers are kind of hard. What we found was really good is something that goes inside the sprinkler system. There's these little valves that you get and they fit perfectly inside the end of that hose. And you
Right.
can kind of,
I've seen those, and we haven't been able to find them.
well, I should send you some because they're really good to have and they're extremely cheap. You can just go to a sprinkler repair place, you know, because Ken is a landscaper, you know, he looked, goes, oh, I know what will fit that. So, and it worked and it was great. And it actually has, it's hollow inside, so it still allows the GANs to pass through. So that's kind of cool too. But literally you can take some of that tubing and you could also burn it shut. I mean, that's one of the things that they did in Peru.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so you can heat it up and burn it. That way it's sealed.
But you just wouldn't get the continuous circulation.
No, but even as a straight piece, so here's a great thing for a straight piece. You can undo your shower head, shove that little piece inside the shower head, and then put the shower head back on.
Oh, how smart.
Yeah, literally, as the water runs across it, you will have plasmatized water.
Oh, beautiful idea. Thank you.
Yeah, that's some simple ways. I mean, and you can do that with so many other things. Anywhere where you have water running, you could actually use it like that. You can also have a whole length of it and you can wrap it around things. Although that's quite a lot and it can be quite difficult to fix it. But it's very simple to put it inside the shower head. This just has a couple of parts in it. These two halves right here, they just literally fix together. And then inside here, like I say, we have the balls. So if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, and then this just goes on the hose bib, the hose comes on the other end. So water is, you know, running right through it.
And what is that thing? Where do you ask for that?
In the plumbing department,
okay.
Yes, this is a PVC one. We actually, well, this one actually comes from a landscaping place, but you can get them at Home Depot. And again, it will depend on what size you want, but they do have these. They're just couplers. So, and they do fit together. What you need to be careful of is the type of glue that you use. We did a lot of tests with various glues. So one of the better ones we saw is the Gorilla Glue. There's a Gorilla Glue that is low odor and non-toxic and works very well. But yeah, glue has been a real problem for us. The medical industry is looking to solve the problem, seeing as they use those same polypropylene tubings and stuff. It's really hard to find something that actually seals and keeps it tight. So that's been a challenge.
Great ideas and suggestions and insights on a really practical level. And then what are the Ganses way on the far side of your table there?
My microbial tea. So this is microbial. I started to look at using these plasmas for various things. So in, you know, ailments and stuff. So this one actually has various frequencies in it. And this was made with CUO. This is copper. I always love this color. This is a copper one. And it's made with Rife frequencies. So it pretty much has all the Rife, Tesla, Schumann frequencies in here. Did take me a while to make, but it's definitely, I have seen some kind of effects with these. Going back to when I first made the Super Gans, each time I stepped it up one, I would go through a detox. So I could really feel a shift.
Wow, that is really an awesome, amazing thing to report. I love hearing that.
I got to say, at the time, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, maybe I've, you know, OD'd on a frequency.
Then what were your symptoms?
Warmth. I mean, like, this warmth would not kind of, it was more in the gut. So literally when I drink these, I can feel it as it travels. And it's almost like a spark that just goes through your digestive system. it's a very strange feeling. But when as I was moving along this detox, you know, I was getting some sweats. I was getting a little tired, and then about 2 days later, I would be fully energized. It was definitely a very interesting experience, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to handle it. I mean, like you said, we kind of test these things out, but after a day or so, it was like, wow, this is cool. You know, it's like it just cleans your body out.
So when you
So,
say when you drink these, I'm guessing that you mean when you use the tubes in your water that you were drinking.
well, and the water that comes
And the
out.
water itself.
And the water itself, yeah. So the water itself, the flavor of it is changed. So even right now, so this is the first time that I've actually used the Protovite in this way. I literally put it in for this show. I can actually taste the Protovite.
In the water. Wow, that is, I mean,
So,
and we're talking about with GANs, we're talking about nano fields, and we're talking about beyond the matter state, as Mr. Keshe is fond of saying. And
yes.
so we're dealing with field frequencies and energies and nourishing and feeding and upscaling our body with something beyond what we think of. We think of eating food or taking a vitamin, but we're doing it more with energetic patterns, with the ability to set in motion a new kind of energy in the body or in our physical field. And that's really exciting.
Absolutely. And also, you know, there's many ways that you can just bring it into your life. So I do make, as we've talked about before, I do make my own soaps. I make my own, I made some sunscreen actually, which was really good. And all of it is plasmatized, organic, natural substances. I'm hoping by next year to have more herbs in the garden so that I can start using the stuff that I grow myself
Yes.
into my, yeah, into
you know
my,
what's really exciting is down here we have neem trees, and
oh, wow.
most of the there's so many street dogs here. Like, you think of the United States really has cleaned up a lot of its animal population that's troubled, so to speak, you know, with animal shelters and spaying and neutering. But in other simpler countries, it's still really a big problem, and people barely get that this is a need. And in warmer countries, mange is everywhere. And basically, mange is mites. And
Might.
I've learned that since being here. And so we have a dog that's adopted us here that we've been working on with neem and with GANs. And
Wow.
but I'm just thinking, as I'm talking to you, I should really make neem GANs. I've been
Yes.
using neem oil and GANs, but I should take the neem oil and use it in a
And break
GANs
it
making process, and then be create a dog wash with that.
That would be great. So the way that I kind of looked at this is it's a little bit like homeopathy. When you
Yes.
take the frequency from the substance, which is really all you need, it's the basis of all matter. It can pass through the skin barrier, and this is the biggest organ that we have. So this is, to me, one of the easiest ways of getting this into your body. And you know, early on we were using GANs patches. Well, a GAN shirt pretty much works the same way.
Right.
And you got the cumbersome effect of working out, oh, where do I put this? How do I put this on? Or how do I keep it taped to me? Or, you know, because you just wear it.
Right.
So
Love it.
right here as well. So just want to say quickly, because, you know, I'm going to be at the Promise Revealed conference that's coming up in Shasta. I think it's July 26th through, or actually July 29th, sorry.
That's so exciting, with Rob Potter. And
Rob Potter. Yes.
And you'll be doing a presentation on some of your magical tools here?
Yes, yes. And so Robert had sent me a couple of tachyon crystals and a laser. And so I have used those as well. So for instance, right here we have some GANs that was made with tachyon crystals. This is a CH3. This was the weirdest substance I've kind of ever made. This tachyon, this CH3 tachyon.
So can you tell me what tachyon is?
Not exactly.
I know, because I'm familiar with it as well, but I don't know if I could explain to anybody. But I think it's another one of those beyond our normal
Beyond our normal.
state that we're familiar with.
Yes. Now, my experience with tachyon was there was a movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but it was all about tachyon as being like the fastest substance, or substance with the most energy. So I couldn't resist but use it with CH3. And anyway, so it's the strangest thing. You obviously can't see it from there, but when I look at that, it is nothing but a cloud. So it just a little tiny cloud that's at the bottom there. Nothing ever really settled for the longest time. It was almost impossible for me to wash this jar. It took months.
Well, you know, CH3 is kind of hard to get settled enough to wash, but it isn't even red, really, is it? A little bit?
No, it's more like a little brown, and it's really just a dust at the bottom. But
interesting.
It took a long time to do that. Another thing that I had happen while I've been using the frequency machine, which was really, really strange. One morning I went in and I literally had a wall of GANs. It was like, I can't even explain it. On one half was full of GANs, the other half was just clear water. Wow. And it wasn't until I poked it and then it just like fell down and cascaded. And it was like, wow, that is such strange stuff. So I've been experiencing some pretty weird phenomena.
One of the things I heard the other day that Mr. Keshe said is, I think it was just on one of the recent Knowledge Seekers, is that when you begin getting these additional hydrogen atoms in there, you'll be setting up magnetic fields. And I just made tritium GANs the other day for the first time. It's amazing that bottle of tritium inside the CO2 GANs process, that seems to be setting up two fields between each other.
Exactly. So some of the things that I kind of looked at when I've been playing with this with the dowsing rods, and that was the two of them can exist, coexist. It's kind of interesting. It's not like one plus the other makes something else. It's like they coexist within the same space. It's very interesting.
Yes. And so how about the pyramid you've got on the edge of the table there? Tell us about that.
So this is another thing. This one is an orgonite pyramid. And as you can see at the bottom here, I've made it with nano coated. These are capacitors. So anyway, I love bringing that into my orgonite. And so then there's some gold, amethyst, some silver, and quartz crystal. But I really love the fact.
So do the capacitors have paper in them, or are they just the nano coated copper?
Yeah, no paper, but what happened, someone actually sat this on something that was paper, and it got stuck to it. So there is some paper on the bottom.
Oh.
but it's quite a large field, and it is very strange looking when you look in there. So anyway, I love using the nano-coated copper in this way. I just try and find many different ways of using it and bringing it into our lives.
Yes, and we're doing some of that here too as well. So very exciting.
Absolutely. Everything from, whether it's toothpaste to water to wearing it.
Yes.
As you can see, I don't know if you can see my house behind us. But
just to mention too, while we're on that subject, we do all our laundry with plasma water. I never wash clothes. I don't even use soap anymore. We just use the magnetics of the plasma fields, and our clothes are wonderful. And then we're wearing the GANs fields all the time.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. What are you going to say about your house?
Yeah, it's GANs. It's painted with GANs as well.
Nice. So, yes. Yeah.
So we do use it in multiple ways, never-ending ways. My daughter, she has a little dog that had growths. She went and had one cut at the vet, and it wasn't healing. And so she sent it to mom to take care of it. And within about 5 days, it began to heal, and it completely healed. And she had taken it to the vet a couple of times, and this had been weeping and kept having problems. And I was able to get rid of the problem, pretty quick. Probably within 2 weeks, it healed up completely. So, and I used both GANs and also the colloidal silver and colloidal copper. So, those are other things that I kind of incorporate. And you can also make GANs out of the colloidal copper and the colloidal silver.
Yes. So were you using those directly on the skin of the dog, or?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Put
Nice.
it directly on there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jackie, I should have brought this up when we first started. Every once in a while, I have people write me and say, "What are you guys talking about? What is GANs?" So maybe we should just, even though we're at the, we're just before, we'll jump into a slideshow in a minute here, but maybe we should address that. Would you like to define what is GANs?
Yeah, so GANs is gas at nanostate. That's what it stands for. And basically it is I guess it's the nanofields that's collected from various metals. The ones that we predominantly use are a nano-coated copper, which kind of, of course it's hot. This is a used one. So it's deteriorated basically. It's carbon, basically a carbon on top. So it's broken down, and this creates a plasma field. So you'd have both a zinc plate and a nano-coated copper plate, or you could use nano-coated zinc. It is so hard to explain, isn't it?
Well,
thinking,
and
the more I'm confused.
We can say this is a new plasma science, and I think, relating homeopathy, which is more of an energy medicine, is kind of something that might have some familiarity. The other thing is Ormus is another thing people are familiar with, and there are some similarities between particularly seawater GANs and Ormus. I knew someone who was making Ormus who went to have surgery. They'd been consuming their own Ormus water for about 5 years. And the doctor said, "What are you doing? You have 5 times as many stem cells as any other person."
I've heard that too.
And so we who are around, I don't want to live in a house that doesn't have GANs in it. I mean, we make GANs and plasma tools to take everywhere with us and to have with us. Our friends come and say, "Can I have something? Can I have this or that?" And they all want to take them home with them. And we do little classes to teach how to do it. But to me, this is like a really important new science that we're all in the elementary stages of learning how to implement and how to integrate into our lives. And yes, it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of learning how to do something new other than what we've been doing for the last 500 years. But it is so worthwhile. And I think the level of health, of regeneration, of feeling good, when other people don't feel good, of brightness that comes into your life. There's so much value to it. And we haven't even brought up yet, the uses for power. You're using a Magrav unit in your house. You've used them in vehicles. I came and did a workshop with you, participated with you, teaching a workshop on how to make all those things. And you've got a number of people out in your community, greater community, that are using them. One good friend has been using seawater GANs almost exclusively, and they are having results of up to 70% savings on their fuel use in a vehicle with just tubes of seawater GANs wrapped around where the carburetor and the air intake are. In fact, one of the guys who wasn't as well trained as all of us decided not to rinse that GANs, and he just mixed the salt water and the caustic and the seawater GANs all together, put it in the tube around the intake on the car, and the fuel savings was up to 70%. So
yeah, that's amazing. Maybe we could move inside. It's kind of hot for me.
Yes. Let's do that. We'll take a break for just a second and we'll come back. Okay, Jackie, here we are, part 2. And yay, take 2. So, and really what we're going to talk about, we've been talking about GANs, and there are kind of two aspects of this plasma energy science that's coming forward that we've been learning about the last few years. And the second part has to do with nano-coated copper and coils put together in a certain way in order to help create a unit we call a Magrav unit to plug into the wall and reduce our use of electrical power,
Yes.
to plug into our car and reduce the use of fuel. And you've helped create quite a few of these, and you're getting to see them in action in a number of homes and
Yes.
situations. So tell us about that.
Yeah, and you know, it is a real mystifying technology. So let me put it this way. So yeah, we've been creating these things, and I have tremendous. Whoa! Something just went over my screen. It's a fly.
How crazy! Somebody's trying to stop us from talking about this.
We've been bugged.
We've been bugged, right? Very cute.
Yes, I wonder what fly is on my wall.
Yeah, really.
So it's very
It's a
off-putting.
drone.
It's a drone. So yes, we've been making them, and Ken and myself have pretty good. It's going there again. It's going to the same spot. It's pretty funny.
Oh, funny.
So Ken and I have pretty good success with them. I did bring a couple of things here so that you can see them. A number of people that have made them, several of them have had good success. Several of them don't think that they work. And a number of them really don't report back one way or another. And they, you know, some people say, oh, it's working no matter what, and other people say it's not working no matter what. So, you know, it's really, really difficult. And then when I look at it myself, we've been having quite a lot of success. Now, when I talk about success, this is our third year in a row. So we've been having a Magrav in our house now for 3 years on and off. We had the original one from Italy that did not work, let's say, and it really didn't. I think it I don't want to say it blew up. That would be very strong words. It collapsed and didn't work, you know. So whatever way you want to look at it, it stopped functioning. I.e., I plugged something in it and that did not come on. So whatever happened, and it is kind of strange with this technology because for the most part, if something does happen and you work with them, you can pretty much know how to fix it.
Yes, I think we have our
visitor again, and he likes that spot.
That is really funny. Yes, and what we're talking about right here is very interesting because I think intention has something to do with it, and then I also think consistency through time has something to do with it. So, and you are getting a consistency through time. So it's giving us a longer range view of things. And you a little bit more know maybe than the average person how to assimilate what you're seeing because you've been through a lot of different trainings.
Yes, and so, and it is very strange. So when you look at your bill, we've seen it go down. So, and as I say, I've been without one sometimes, and then I'll see a spike, and then I plug it in and it goes down. Now, remember, electricity usage is very seasonal, and you can get really dramatic differences from one month to the next, especially here in California. Like if I look at February could be freezing cold, March could be summer.
Right.
So you'll see dramatic changes sometimes. And we've seen what should be dramatic changes, and we've been getting kind of better and better usage, so shall we say. So yeah, so this is the third year in a row where our usage has gone down. And right now we have more members of our household than we've had previously. We actually have 2 people staying with us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people staying with us, and our bill has gone down from last year.
And then, so in which unit are you on? Are you on your third unit?
So what generally happens to my units is, like I said, I had the Italian one, which started to condition the house, but then quit. So that disappeared. And then I went to Peru, as you remember. So that was 2 years ago now. And then I learned to make my own unit. I never used that unit, but when I came home, I then started to purchase coils from the factory, from Arizona factory, and we made our own unit. I then started to make our own cases, or a guy made them for us. So this is kind of what our unit looks like.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yes.
Inside, it looks like this. So, and the coils sit in here, and then there's a little space for the balls inside too.
Right. And I was actually there when you received your first Arizona kit. And
yes.
I helped you, I worked with you and I put it together.
Yes.
And I think what was neat about that was they had made a little more sophisticated capacitors and the way things fit together, which probably made it a little more secure unit.
A little more robust. Yes. And I must admit, we do like that unit. We still buy the kits from Arizona. It's also my way of giving back to the Keshe factory, because I think it's very important that we assist them in staying open and continuing their research.
Beautiful.
So,
and so you've actually done a bunch of workshops with these units that you order from the factory in Arizona and you put together in the workshop.
Yeah. And we can make them considerably cheaper actually with our cases, which is why we also use our case. Additionally, our case, we have what we think is a larger field. It's made of natural substance. I will also speak to the intent. So the guy that makes these, he's a craftsman. He loves to make things. He really enjoys doing it. And I think we see the results ultimately in the units. So, additionally, I can make them with whatever GANs somebody wants, or people can come here and make them, and however they want to make them too. So you have a lot of...
So when you say with GANs, you mean the GANs you coat the coils with, correct? Or
and
the balls?
And the little balls, yes. You make the little center suns with it. So for instance, I had a woman who had MS, and so I actually used magnesium in the GANs and on the coils.
Nice.
And she did notice a big difference.
So you're seeing the Magrav unit, which we've been taught to see it as something that will bring well-being to the home, besides just lowering the electric bill.
Yes, the energy field here. I can douse it, just the Magrav field alone, about 180 feet. So, and that would be a separate field than the GANs that's inside it, just to clarify with people. That's just the Magrav field itself. So yes, so we've seen a savings. I know other people that have seen have seen some savings. So I know some people who say that they haven't seen savings. And then I know some people who really don't have an opinion and really don't look at it from that perspective. They look at it more as they like the energy field being in their house, much as you would an orgone pyramid. So, so we're looking at, it's kind of hard to get a really, good.
No, that's lovely though. It's not black and white, and it has a lot to do with everybody's energy, why they're doing it, what they're looking for, and I think this is how this science is being taught too. Where there's different purposes and things that we're wanting to bring into our homes.
Yes. And so, yeah, so we make them like that. I always think it'd be really nice to, like, for those people out there that love to do art, to actually design on here as well.
Yes.
Really, I mean, it can be very, like something very cool that sits there. So, I love it. It's really nice. The field is great. I've worked on getting it more for health. So when I was in Italy, if you remember, I was at the Italian conference a year and a half ago it was, or a year ago, March. There was a woman there that spoke, and she used just a single coil plugged in.
And that's crazy. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, she sat with her feet on the coils. I'm pretty sure that she actually said that she touched the coils while they were plugged in. Now, I haven't done that. Please don't rush out and do it unless you're really careful. But I'm pretty sure that's what she said at the time. And I don't know if you know, certainly your watchers won't necessarily know, or your viewers won't necessarily know, but I use a lot of PEMF. I use frequency microcurrent stimulators. So, you know, seeing the Magrav unit at that level as well, to me, has many benefits.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like that. I did have a car unit here that I thought people might be interested in seeing.
Definitely.
I actually have a couple of coils that we have done right now. These have been nano coating. Actually, if I look at them like that,
Beautiful nano coating.
they are. It is actually very beautiful. The weather's great for nano coating right now. You've got the humidity in the air, and it's nice and hot, so everything's staying perfect. I do actually have one of the car units open here, so you can kind of see inside. So inside we have our center sun, which is a little Gans ball. And then outside we have the nano-coated coils that have also been Gansed. And then we have this lead wire. This is actually a positive. This would actually go to the positive on the battery. You can see we put a red wire outside of it. When we make our car units.
And that goes to the positive goes to the,
that would go to the,
which coil does it run into? Or
that goes to the magnetical side of the coil. That's the magnetical coil, and it would go to the positive side of the battery.
Nice.
So it would have two coils. So basically what we use, and anybody could do this that wants to start making that, we use these 3-inch end caps, which you can pretty much buy anywhere. And then you're going to put the coil in there with your Gans ball, and then we actually use these to secure it. So this is 3-inch pipe, which actually fits in there perfectly, and it will actually hold down the coil perfectly, and then these two fit together. So you can see, so literally.
That's a great idea. You guys have a lot of practical solutions. I really enjoyed seeing that when I was there.
Yeah, it actually fits down really nicely on it and holds it.
And that gets you out of having to use the glue, which was causing problems, right?
Yes, people were having problems with the glue, so we have very minimal amount of glue. The only glue that we actually use is a little bit for the ball, and really we don't even do that, because what we started to use, I have one right here, we have these little pieces of wood, and they have a little ball curved on the inside, so they fit perfectly down in there. This goes on top, and you can see it's cut in such a way that it actually sits on top of that piece of wood and holds the wood down. So everything clamps together perfectly. So, and the wood holds the ball, that holds the coils and the wood.
That is awesome. Beautiful. So, so what kind of results are you having with the car unit in your car?
The car units always work very well for us. It works great in our Mercedes. We now have a Toyota Corolla. I think this is maybe the 4th or 5th car I've talked to you guys about. So we do go through a few cars.
Wow.
And each time I make a new Magrav to go into the new car, and each time we see about 30% results. So, you know, sometimes it's really awesome. Occasionally it comes down to what we would consider to be the normal, like, you know, 28, 29 miles per gallon. But on the whole, we see like 35. And we don't know what makes those changes.
And are you guys using older cars that maybe don't have really sophisticated computers?
We've tried both. We've tried both. And, you know, as I say, we've had pretty good success no matter which car we've been using. And I don't know, you know, maybe we need to have somebody sneakily undo the Magrav and see if it's just us being excited about it. I don't know.
So, and so you always hook it to the battery rather than to the lighter.
We prefer it to the battery than to the cigarette lighter. One of the things that we have noticed with the cigarette lighter is the connectivity can't always be trusted.
Right.
There's like a plug creep. It will slightly creep out, and you know, it's really hard to find a good quality plug that stays in, fits in. And
interesting.
Yeah, and let alone, you know, people unplug them because they want to plug in their, you know, iPhone or something, and claim they don't work.
Right. So I had one of those units in my van, which is an older van, a 94 Toyota van. And the first thing it did was I blew out a fuse, which was really old. I think what happens when you start running the current through better is if something can't capacitate that energy coming through, then it's going to tell you there's something broken. And then the next thing I did was the starter went. And after that, I didn't plug it back in because I was in and out of having the van anyway, because I was sometimes in the States and sometimes not. But I would really like to get back to it. I'm kind of looking forward to trying one of the seawater Gans tubes, just because it might be a little less pushy on the electrical system, but I don't know. So.
Yes, so some people did see the same thing. We can't work out what it is either. And then we had one guy, if you remember the guy with the feet, he's the famous one with the feet.
Yes. I remember that.
Yeah, so
from another video we did.
Yes, so first he saw his feet kind of being healed, and then he saw that the car was just running better. And then about 6 months later, he showed up and said, I'm finally seeing better gas mileage.
Right.
So it went through a lot of different changes.
So having that awareness that the Magrav unit is bringing in plasma energy, it's a carrier or a way for us to connect with the plasma field. And so it is going to correct whatever it needs to correct. And what our idea is may not be the same as what
it's seeing. Yeah. Absolutely. And so when we were outside, we were talking a little bit about the PVC tubing. So this is some of the tubing right here. And as you can see, the little connector. So that's a little shark bite connector. Those actually work really well.
Nice.
They don't come off. And so you can actually fill these tubes with, this is filled with CO2. And then I just have the shark bites on either end.
Nice.
So yeah, this one.
When you put CO2 in a tube like that, are you putting a little bit of the Gans material and the water?
I used a lot.
A lot.
So this is actually for a health one. So it actually has a pretty strong field. You really just need the water for a lot of things. There are some things that it's a good idea to use the Gans itself.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Jackie, you are so much fun to talk to, and you're such a wealth of information.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I think your enthusiasm is infectious, and I think other people always comment how much they enjoy the videos. And we are getting bugged today. Isn't this interesting?
We are getting bugged today.
Just tell the drone, this will be public really soon. There's nothing secret here. So shall we go ahead and check out the slides of your garden and then call it good?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's
Sounds
do
good.
that really quick. Screen, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing something a little different. So, so right there, you can see that red building right there. That's my house. If you remember when you were here, it was actually blue.
Yes.
We've done new windows, new siding, and of course that is Gans painted house now.
Beautiful. And how does that feel to be inside?
It actually feels great. You know, it's kind of interesting. So the side you're looking at, the left side, a little part of the right side has all been finished. The back side that you can't see and a little bit of the right side as we're looking at it has not been done. And you can feel a difference as you go through the house.
Wow.
So I'll be able to report back more when we're completely finished, but it's very strange. It's cooler everywhere else, but as you walk down the hallway, which would be a part that has not been done, you just feel this heat that hits you.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so it's definitely interesting.
Setting
And
up a field. And so what did you do? Just take some GANs and mix it into the paint?
I mixed it in with the paint, yeah. So, and each time, as I've done this, as I said, we did the new windows as well. So all of the inside and the outside are both painted with, and there's GANs added to the paint.
Beautiful.
So they all have a nice field.
And we, when I was at Heather Bryant's, they sprayed their whole house with just GANs inside and out. But I love this idea of painting it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually it's really nice. Just, you know, it thins out the paint a little bit, makes it go a little further, and, you know, just gives you this great field.
Nice.
That's out at the front yard. So if you remember, we had these trees last year. Actually, a couple of those ones we had to replace this year. We had, like I said earlier, we've had some really harsh weather. So we put down a bunch of bark, which is
nice.
Yeah, going to make it a lot better next year. We're preparing for everything next year. The new fence will go up.
Nice.
So yeah, we have some stuff going on, and I think it's great to have this as a checkpoint for next year when we come back to do another show, and hopefully we've got all kinds of new fruits and stuff.
Very cool. Yes, beautiful. And you're in a pretty, why is this not? Okay, how's that? Can you see that one?
That's my little fig at the end right there. You can see those little figs. That tree right there is 3 months old. It didn't have any figs when we got it.
That is gorgeous.
It's got about 10 figs on it. So, as you know, Fig is my last name. I've always wanted a fig tree, and now I have one. I have my fig family tree, but not a fig tree.
There you go. So are you watering them with plasma water, or
yes,
the water
yes,
that you have the thing on your hose?
Actually, we have one we have a larger unit than the one I showed you earlier that's in line. So all water coming in is plasmatized as it comes through and into the house and all the way through the garden. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Jackie, you're such a living example of doing this. It's beautiful.
I don't know if you guys remember my pear tree last year had fire blight. This I treated it with GANs, and that's my pear this year. So I have a great pear on it. It had a lot of blossoms, and as I said earlier, we had a beautiful early spring, and then we had this terrible season that came in, and we had no bees. So there was not much pollination going on, which has now spurred me to try and get a little beehive. So we might be getting one hopefully a little later, but that's my little pear on my little pear tree.
Weather extremes and you're working on building a plasma oasis like Tom Salis did.
Yes.
And how important this is in this world, building little communities that are hubs that have plasma at the core of them.
Yes.
To create a resonant field.
Definitely.
I also just read too, I know they kind of supplement bees with sugar a lot of times, and it's coming out that they're using high fructose corn syrup, and that literally is what is killing off the bees. That's something I just read about. So
that's so sad. So yeah, because I have a hummingbird feeder that I put outside, and I did find it got swarmed with bees, and I was really worried about that. So I was going to go buy them some honey and make a little bee mixture with just some honey.
And then you ask yourself, how pure is the honey? Because they're feeding the bees sugar. So it's really, I think just keep doing everything we're doing the best we can.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so what's this one? Oh, look at my melons.
Beautiful.
Yes, so believe it or not, I only found that this morning.
Wow, that is gigantic. Gigantic watermelon, such healthy leaves.
Huge. So there's about 6 of them out there, and they were completely camouflaged. I kept looking before, and all I could see was green. And then I have a guy that comes over, and he gets treated here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today he stopped by, and we went to go look at the garden. He said, "Look at your melons," and I'm like, where? And he pointed them out. I'm like, wow, look how many there are. So we were totally shocked at those.
Oh, so
So
awesome.
yes.
Very cool.
Like I said, look
And
at those
cantaloupe.
cantaloupe.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. There's actually
Wow.
4 of them right there. So yes.
How
very
often do
exciting.
you water? Or do you have a watering system?
We have a watering system. They get watered 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Nice.
And I think now that the heat's been really bad, Saturday as well. So.
And so the plasma, so the water's always running through a device that has Gans water around it.
Absolutely, yes. And then if they're sick, I will treat them with Gans direct.
Okay,
So,
good. Beautiful, healthy plants.
yes, they are actually really beautiful. So there are actually melons hidden in there. You can't see that.
I can see one in the middle.
You can
there.
just see it in there. Okay.
Yeah. There's another one.
There's another one. Yeah. So this one's actually standing up outside, right outside that little wall area. That is outside that little wall area.
Wow.
So I can't believe I didn't see it. And I mean, these things really hide well.
Gorgeous. They're beautiful, very lush looking. And we can see it's all like desert around you. It's obviously very dry.
Very dry. Yes.
These are the melon plants here.
Melons, tomatoes off to the right.
Okay.
Couple of grape plants in front of us and the marigolds.
Beautiful.
So,
beautiful.
those are radishes.
Right. Wow. They look really well and healthy. There's the squash.
Yeah. So it was tiny. I mean, it was incredible how big that got so fast. And I did not expect it to kind of take over quite so much. There's the tomato plants in the back, and it's just really taking over. As I said earlier, I'm not really a green thumb. I'm kind of learning right now that in future, I'm going to put those in slightly different places.
Right. But they're really gorgeous, Jackie. I mean, lush, beautiful, healthy.
And when you look inside there, I mean, you can just see these
big zucchini
spots.
growing.
Yeah,
They're
zucchini.
beautiful.
Yeah. So in England, we call those courgettes, and they're probably definitely like smaller than this. They're about half the thickness of something like that. And then, but here, I mean, they grow. I've had a couple of them that have been really big, and we've been making zucchini bread, zucchini pancakes. There's a million and one things you can do with them.
Zucchini everything.
Yeah, zucchini everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you can think of?
Oh, so just very quickly. So this is suntan lotion. It's healthy and not bad for you.
Yummy.
It has zinc oxide inside it. That's what gives it its kind of really bright white kind of look to it. And that, you know, when you put it on your nose, it's going to kind of paint your nose.
Cute.
And so anyway, this is made with coconut oil, and everything in it has been plasmatized, and it works really well. So
beautiful.
Covered in it. But anyway,
beautiful.
So just another thing you can do with the Gans.
Nice. And you have soaps as well, right?
Soaps as well. And yeah, anybody that's interested in learning, I really think we need to get some workshops, do some online workshops.
Yes, you and I have talked about that. Let's do some online workshops. I would love to. I'm just working on getting some videos I've made in Spanish and English, PowerPoint videos up on my website. So
yes,
maybe the next few weeks, and I know you're going to Mount Shasta to
yes,
to Rob Potter's workshop.
Yes.
Or
very excited about going there.
Gathering.
That will be fun.
Yes.
Lady from Venus is going to be there, and there's going to be all kinds of fun people there, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if anyone's up in the Mount Shasta area, pop up to Robert Potter's.
So exciting. And and it's the Promise Revealed.
The Promise
gathering
Revealed.
Or
yes.
event.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to reach you, you have an Etsy store and a website?
Yes. So the Etsy store is KF Plasma Energy on Etsy. And we do have Keshe Distributor, I think it is, .com.
Okay.
That is really as in terms of my distributorship. It's very hard for me to get products from Italy, and I prefer not to because it would just send the price up high.
Right.
So, but yeah, people can buy direct from the factory as well. So that's good. And John Bliven is very quick and,
And so if people come to find you at Etsy, is there a personal contact that they can make by going there?
Yes, they can send me a conversation.
Okay.
And and I will respond. So,
and so
yeah.
repeat the Etsy store again.
It's KF Plasma Energy.
Okay.
And it's on Etsy. So if you just
Okay.
go on Etsy and you look for KF Plasma Energy, and it's all one word.
Perfect.
And so we do a lot of energy clothing and all the things that you've seen here today, or special orders. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Jacquie, thank you so much. You're a bright light in this world. Thank you for being practical and enthusiastic and just putting things to work. It takes an extra step to do that. And many people are sitting on the sidelines watching and seeing how things will go or wanting to buy something. And I just want to encourage everyone out there. These things are easy to do. We'll keep teaching what we know and sharing what we know. Remember to breathe, smile,
absolutely,
and love, and you will change the world. Live your life in the best way you know how. Follow your heart, listen to your heart, and be the change you wish to see. We're all here as a global family to do this together, and we want to thank you for listening, being here with us, and coming back and listening again. Share with your friends, and breathe, smile, and love.
Yes. Love and gratitude.
Okay. Take care, Jacquie. Much love to you. We'll see you really soon.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Century Superhuman, and I know that the answers are inside. Yeah, I am a 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see it when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. Here now, hear my ancient prayer and sing along. We are awakening as one, and we can make a difference. Yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world a lot more fun.